Welcome home, everyone. Thank you for joining in on this episode of Welcome Home with the Katinas. Welcome Home is a podcast where I, your host Josh, sit down for a conversation with different people who I admire and discuss whatever's on their mind, and especially focus on life at home in times like this. Wherever you are and however you're listening, thank you for your support, and once again, welcome home. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining in on this week's episode of Welcome Home with the Katinas. I want to start off by wishing a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there watching and or listening. I want to send a shout out to my mom, Lori. Thank you, Mom, for being my mom, and I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. I hope you know that I love you and you're special to me, and I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for you. I know that there's lots of people out there listening who would agree that their moms are really the cornerstone of who they are and a huge part of their lives. And so this week, I hope that the moms out there feel blessed and loved and celebrated. So shouts out to the moms. I want to start off by saying thank you to our supporters of this show, and to remind you all that the best way to become a supporter of the show is to visit thekatinas.com, click on the give button there, and it'll take you where you need to go. So yeah, that's that, and I'll get into today's episode with a returning guest. I don't know if it's his third episode. Someone who is an important person in my life and someone who I just enjoy being around. So I'd like to welcome to the show my cousin, Jackson Katina. Jack, thank you for being here, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I didn't really realize this going into this episode, but this episode will be coming out the week of Mother's Day. So I want to give you an opportunity, if you'd like, to send a shout out to your mom.
Oh, yeah. Mom, Michelle, Sue Curtis, just thank you so much for all that you've done for me growing up. I actually have two moms. I have a stepmom as well, Chrissy Katina. Thank you as well for just treating me like your own, and both are incredibly hardworking, strong individuals that when I think of a support system, I think of my moms. So Michelle and Chrissy, you guys are incredible, and I thank you so very much.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Shouts out to Michelle and Chrissy. Auntie Michelle and Auntie Chrissy for me. Jack, you have been on the show in the past, but so we're approaching episode 100 for this podcast.
Wow.
And there's actually going to be a shift in the show. I don't know. You probably don't know about it. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay.
But after episode 100, there is going to be a shift. And so we're in the last days of episodes that are in this format. And so I just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to our listeners. Some of them may have not seen you or heard you before. But yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and how you're related to the Katina family.
Yeah. So I'm Jackson James Katina. My middle name kind of gives away my relation. My father's James Katina, the bassist. And I am his oldest son. I'm 26 years old. Finishing up school right now, and I live here in Franklin now.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's a treat to have you here back in Franklin.
Yes, sir. It's good to be back.
It's been a while. We'll get into that. And so as your returning guest, you have had your introduction into the show. And for returning guests, I have not three questions, but one that I want to ask you, and it will lead our conversations for today. And so you can answer it however you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is this for you, Jack: what is going on at home?
Yeah, so I kind of alluded to it. I am a new resident of Franklin, returning resident. I lived here for a year after I graduated from Lee. I lived a year here with my dad, and then I got married and we moved to Knoxville for about 2 years as I was starting physical therapy school. And now we moved back. I'm doing my last clinical rotation at a Results Physiotherapy here, and we did this intentionally because we wanted to be back here afterwards, and I just wanted to get plugged into the PT community before we moved and settled down. And so, yeah, we're here. I'm finishing up school. We're currently living with some family friends, the Deans. Shout out to the Deans. It's my wife Leah, her best friend Riley's parents, and so they've been very gracious in opening up their home to us. And yeah, that's kind of what's just a brief snippet of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So first off, congrats to you and Leah.
Thank you.
I know that you recently, I hope it's okay I say this,
Yeah.
but you recently passed your, is it your the boards?
Boards exam, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's like a big step, I'm assuming,
Yeah,
in
it
becoming
was
a
huge.
physical therapist.
Uh-huh.
So you're on the doorstep of finishing everything that
Yeah.
you've been trying to accomplish, and I honor you for that, bro. One thing I want to ask you is why physical therapy? Why did you want to become a physical therapist?
That's a great question. It to put it simply, it really just kind of aligned with who I am. I've always been interested in human performance. I think that stems from my love of sports and my interest in sports. And so kind of when you dive into the greatness of professional athletes, you look at human performance. Why are they better? And so that was the root of me being a physical therapist or pursuing physical therapy. But from there, physical therapy, you're really you're serving people, which I really enjoy. I find a lot of fulfillment in that. And on top of that, it's based around science, which has always been my favorite subject in school. So I would say those three things: just serving people, my interest in human performance, and then my love for science. It kind of all just kind of meshed into physical therapy.
Yeah, I think it's I've always been interested in like why people are interested in the things that they are interested in.
Yeah.
And I've been inspired by your journey over the last couple of years now, in school and in preparation for becoming a physical therapist. One thing I want to ask you now is, as you're approaching the end of your education and getting ready to graduate and just be done with school, basically. What do you anticipate as like the biggest challenge that is coming from, like, you're no longer gonna be a student, you're not gonna be studying for exams or going to classes, all those things which are I would assume are just have been a big part of your life in the past. What is it? What would you say? 6 years? 7 years?
Yeah.
What do you see as like being the thing that's going to be challenging for you moving into this new season of life as a licensed physical therapist?
Yeah. Right now, I think it's going to be fighting complacency. Today I told you, I've been at a results physiotherapy here, but today I got a chance to shadow another therapist at a benchmark physical therapy in Spring Hill. And we were having a conversation today about what it's going to look like being a new grad. And one thing that he said a challenge for you as a new grad is going to be is not being complacent. Like you just said, I've been spending 6 to 7 years studying, grinding for this moment to finally have my first like real job. And you kind of just want to just do the thing and sit back and relax and be a physical therapist. But if you're not challenging yourself, ever so often, as a physical therapist, you are expected to do continued education courses to stay on top of the latest research and the latest techniques and treatments, because at the end of the day, you are a part of the medical field. And so just how a physician or anybody in a doctor's office needs to stay on top of the latest and greatest in the medical field, so does a physical therapist. And so we are required to do that. But you can kind of skate by and just do the minimum. And if you do that, you're just going to be a very average or subpar PT, and that's not fair to you, and especially not fair to your patients. And so I would say just fighting complacency and just continuing to push myself, even though it's been a long road. I'm not done. I'm still striving. So.
Let me ask you this. What is it that you're most excited for being out of classes and school and all that? What's the thing that you're like, man, I can't wait to be here? What is that thing for you?
I've been thinking about that a lot through this clinical rotation since it's my last one. Like, what am I looking forward to the most? And I would definitely say just having my own caseload, meaning I have my own patients. For the past year or two, I've been treating someone else's patients, and you give the same effort, but it's a little, you take more responsibility and ownership when they are attached to your name and your care. I think I'm just excited to be able to make my own decisions and do what I think is best for my patients. I think that's really exciting and fulfilling.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of pressure, but exciting at the same time. Like, just having people entrust to you their health, and I don't know. It's crazy to me to think about, because I know a lot about you. Like, it's funny, like, I spent 4-ish years with you as my college roommate. And now thinking that this guy's going to be treating people and, like, giving them advice on how to, like, live their lives in the way that it's, like, their physical health is on the line.
Right.
And I don't know. It's exciting to me to think that you're going to be that guy. And
yeah.
I would trust you. I do already trust you. I've been asking you questions about my back, but
we need to get to that after this episode, by the way.
We'll do that afterwards. I want to ask you, it is May right now, mid-May. July is your wedding anniversary.
Yep. July 2nd.
2 years?
2 years, yep.
I think we had an episode maybe 2 years ago where I was asking you about, like, what are you excited about for marriage? And now you're coming up on 2 years of being a married man. I just want to ask you, like, how is marriage for you? And also, in these last 2 years, how has marriage shaped you as a person?
Yeah, it's shaped me. The thing that sticks out to me the most is just it pushes me to be more selfless, which I guess I don't think I realized how selfish I was as a single man. And more so than that, because we dated for 4 years before we got married, and just when you get married and you move in together and you're doing everyday life day after day, you really kind of your wife is almost reflecting who you are back to you, and so you get the most pure feedback that I think you could ever get. And so it shaped me to be more selfless and to kind of take more ownership of my crap, basically. Yeah.
I can totally relate to you when it comes to like marriage showing you the parts of you that are like selfish. And I think marriage, at least for me, marriage has been like such a mirror. Like it has just exposed a lot of things about who I am, and even it has exposed the good parts and the bad parts about who I am. And I'm curious, like, as a married person, do you feel like, I guess my question is this, like, in what ways does marriage expose the ugly parts of you, or the parts of you that maybe you try and hide from the rest of the world? Like, how has marriage done that for you?
Just how I spend my time, how I want to spend my time. I just like to spend my time doing things that I want to do. And that what I want to do doesn't always fit what needs to be done or what she wants to do. There's kind of three different, there's what I want to do, there's what she wants to do, and there's what needs to be done for the house or whatever, just our marriage. And I've been very focused on what I want to do for so long. That's, I would say, how it's exposed, some things in me.
I would say for me, like, marriage has really changed the things that I care about in the way that before I was married, there are certain things that were not important to me, that I didn't spend time thinking about, honestly. And after getting married and living with my wife, and having to live in a way that everything I do it doesn't just affect me, but it also affects her. Like, it has changed the things that I care about. And so, I don't know, I think as a man, and maybe, I don't know if this is just me or if it's for all men, but it's been, I feel like it's been an area of growth for me. Like, being able to spend time thinking about things that didn't necessarily matter to me before. And maybe this is the same with you, just like the way that you spend your time. I don't know what's important to Leah, or I have a feeling it's similar to what's important to Alexis. But I don't know. It's just like, I feel like marriage has been, it has opened up a road of growth for me that was never open before. And it's been hard in some ways, easy in others, but it's been an enjoyable process for me. I don't know. Have you? I'm hoping, has marriage been enjoyable for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's been so easy, and which has been great. I mean, you said it best. I mean, yeah, there are hard moments, and with growth comes friction, but it's been relatively easy and very enjoyable. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I know my brother, your cousin, Eli, is a married man.
Yep.
And him and his wife are expecting a baby now.
Shout out.
Like any day.
Can I say the name?
Yeah.
It's out, publicly. Shout out Josiah.
Just shout out Josiah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because they've been, they have kind of said behind closed doors or whatever that they're not sure about the name, but
Oh, okay.
but they don't know anything else.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's gonna be Josiah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think it's relatively normal for the first baby to be unsure about the name.
Yeah.
I don't know. Josiah, I love that name.
Yeah.
Anyways, Eli is getting ready to become a father, which is crazy to say. There is, Alexis and I have had these conversations. There's no guarantee that her and I will be able to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we are one day. And that would be a blessing for us. And it would be a blessing for you and Leah to have children one day. But I just want to ask you, as you think about the prospects of becoming a father one day, what is your biggest fear when it comes to being a father?
That's a great question. I try not to think about future fears, but just thinking about it right now, I would say just failing them as a parent, which, I mean, that has a lot of different products, but I guess just not setting them up for success in the future. I know it's very vague and I don't exactly know what that looks like, but yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. What about you?
My biggest fear as being a father, it would probably be stifling. I don't know how to say this. Well, let me say it like this. I see myself as, when I'm a father, there are certain things that I want to instill in my children. Mm-hmm. Certain things that I think are important to being a person and being successful in the world. But I'm afraid that in doing that, I could stifle something that is very powerful inside of them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. Because I actually, as you were talking, I think I'm thinking the same thing as you. You want to make sure that your child has full freedom in expressing who they're meant to be or supposed to be, and you don't want to be too rigid. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm
totally.
Yeah,
but there's also things I want my children to be respectful.
Right.
I want them to be humble.
Right.
I want them to be God-fearing people. But at the same time, I want them to be curious and confident and people who are willing to challenge things. I don't know. There's just it's this weird dichotomy or paradox of I want my kids to be strong and willing to push the envelope, but at the same time I want them to be people who are respectful.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how you find the balance of that. Parenting to me is terrifying.
Right.
And I've been thinking about that more and more since my brother has been him and my sister-in-law have been expecting a child. And thank you for talking to me about being a father. I know that can be a weird conversation for some people. I don't know. I've been I feel comfortable saying this. So I've been going to a therapist for the last couple of weeks now. And a lot of what we talk about is things from my childhood and things that I learned from my father and my mom. And I don't know. It's been an interesting journey for me, like looking back into my childhood and into my past and the way that things have affected me later on in my life. And I'm not your therapist, obviously, and I don't know anything, but I want to ask you, as you are entering a new phase into your life, like a new season, a new chapter, finishing with school, finishing that era of your life, when you look back and think about the steps and the milestones that you reached to get to this point, do you feel like there was a certain time where or a certain milestone that you reached that was like, man, this was really important to getting me to where I am today?
Not really. I've been reflecting a lot. Like we talked about, I just passed my boards, which, to be honest, has been, just from a strict, like a career standpoint, has been the biggest accomplishment to date. And so I've just been reflecting a lot about just like how I got here. And it was really just kind of one day at a time. I always call it riding the wave. Like I felt like I rode the wave. I feel like that's a good analogy, because I'm not trying to get too deep, but like when you are going surfing, you're kind of just out there searching for something. You're searching for a wave. You don't know when it's going to come, how big it's going to be. You don't control it. It just comes to you. But once you get that wave and you get up, you just try to take it as far as you can. And one thing I've been thinking about recently is, and I think you know this, but just how bad of a student I was in high school and basically leading up to undergrad. I was just, I did not care about school. I didn't know where my life was headed. And for whatever reason, once I got to college, like just mentally, like a switch flipped one day. And once I got up on that wave, like I've been riding it ever since. Yeah. And it's been pretty easy. So there was never like, oh, once I did this, like it kind of, I started getting in this rhythm. It was just really a switch flipped. However, when you go back to how I was raised and maybe how that affected where I'm at today, I would definitely say just my parents' constant feedback, or my parents' constant support of letting me know how much potential I have, and just how, I guess, amazing I truly can be. I don't think I was not that confident growing up, and so their just constant support of just feeding into me and pouring life into me. I think that's a big reason as to why that mental switch flipped, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the whole, like, oh, I wasn't a good student in high school or whatever, but once college came, I turned a new page or whatever. I don't think that was a coincidence. Like, I'm not really a believer in like you can just change for no reason. Like there had to be something that was like there had to be some sort of influence in your life that was like it built that great student within you, or whoever it was. I don't know, something that you weren't accessing at one point, but now that you're in college you are. And I think you already kind of touched on it, but I feel like there's probably some parents out there listening who have children that they believe in, that are like, they know the potential that their kids have, but their kids are not accessing it right now. And I feel like your transition from high school to college, like there was something that your parents probably instilled within you that was awoken when you went to college for whatever reason. But could you expound upon like what it was that your parents told you about yourself that triggered this new fire within you to be a good student and to be someone who excelled and reached heights that people in your family have never reached before?
I think of two things. One, what they told me about myself that maybe I didn't believe at the time. And on top of that, instilling a core attribute, which you kind of alluded to, and how a parent dancing that fine line, you want to instill certain things in your kids. So I would say they told me just how talented and great I am at the things that I apply myself to, and then instilling gratitude in me. I think the combination of the two is really what helped flip that switch, because it was me looking at myself and saying, okay, my parents tell me that I can do this, and I know that I'm giving this, and so I'm getting this. So why not just actually try? Why not actually apply myself? And then on top of, instilling gratitude in me, just a quick backstory of our education. It was fully paid for by the Holtz. Shout out to the Holtz. You guys are incredible. We love you so much and are forever in your debt for just the gracious blessing that was of putting us through school. And so my gratitude of that pushed me to be great and to pursue something worthwhile. I didn't want to just continue doing what I had been doing in high school and just not applying myself when I was given that opportunity. So
yeah. Shout out to Steve and Judy.
Shout out Steve and Judy.
We saw them, so you weren't there, but we had a listening party for the Hymns album, which the Katinas are releasing right now. They're releasing a single every month for the next year, basically. We had a listening party for that at the Holtz house, and being with them, and I don't get to see them very often. I don't know when the last time you saw them was, but
it's been a minute.
I was just able to be with them, and I was able to be with them with my wife, who I met in college, who I wouldn't have met if I hadn't gone to Lee. And I don't know, there was an element of gratitude that was I was able to thank them basically for introducing me to Alexis.
Yeah.
And that was a fun thing to do. And I don't know, I love the Holtz, but
yeah.
I know you do too. And I want to ask you, as we close, your title of Dr. Katina is coming. Is it official yet, or
It's not official. I'm a licensed physical therapist, but you have to graduate in order to be you have to graduate your doctorate program in order to have that title.
So you graduate in what?
June, so in 6 weeks.
6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, you will be Dr. Katina, which is, as far as I know, and I'm pretty sure that has never been a thing in the past. Dr. Katina.
Yeah.
Not your dad, not my dad, not any of our uncles, our aunts, not our grandparents, definitely not our great grandparents. Like, you're gonna be the first Dr. Katina, which is crazy to think about, and I believe that there's gonna be more in years to come. But for now, it's just you. And I honor that, and I celebrate that I get to know the first Dr. Katina. And I get to say he was my college roommate. But I want to ask you, like, that title, Dr. Katina, what does it mean to you?
I mean, it's really not about the title. Like it's a cool title, but I really think about what has led to this moment in beyond my life. I look at my parents' life and I look beyond that. I was thinking about this the other day, and it just inspires me to be a physical therapist who is brave, courageous, loving, and sacrificial, because I feel like that's where we come from. And specifically, I'm referring to the decision that was made. The decision that was made by our great grandmother. For those who don't know, our grandfather, Moses Katina, his mother had to make a very brave and courageous, loving and sacrificial decision to essentially sacrifice her own life for Moses to be born. And she did it without anyone looking. She didn't do it for any applause, but she made that decision. And I believe that, look at what that decision has caused. Mm-hmm. Generations and generations are coming from that decision. Mm-hmm. And so that that moment of bravery and sacrifice has led to this point. And so I just want to be respectful of that and be sacrificial and loving in my practice, and in honor of her. And so it's not about the title, it's just about what I can do from here. And so yeah.
Well, bro, I am the word proud is not sufficient to say how I feel, but I am proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think I sent it to you, but for the first time ever, I got to see a picture of our great-grandfather and great-grandmother.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a photo of them before. Mm-hmm. And that photo came up because they're using it for the the documentary that's going to be coming out soon, just about your dad and my dad's life. And but this has been something that I've thought about for a long time, and I have a feeling you probably have, and a lot of our cousins have, of just the amazing journey that our bloodline has been on for generations. And when I saw that photo of our great-grandfather and great-grandmother who chose to give our grandfather a chance at life rather than herself, I had this sense of gratitude for her. And I don't know, it just made me think about like the opportunity that I have because I'm alive to make decisions and choices that can affect people that I'll never know. And I believe that there will be grandchildren and grandchildren that we'll never know, that will find confidence or inspiration from the fact that there was a Dr. Jackson Katina. And if all you ever do is become a doctor, I feel like it was worth it, because there's impact from that. And I know that you're going to do a lot of great things, and you're going to be the best physical therapist you can be. But just the fact that you have hit this landmark and achieved this milestone that not many people achieve, I believe that there's generations that are going to be impacted by it. So thank you. And I'm so proud of you, and I love you, and I'm so glad that you and Leah are here in Franklin. It's such a treat to have you guys here, and we got to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with you guys last week. It's just a treat. But I love you, man, and it's an honor to call you a cousin, a brother, and a friend.
Thank you for those kind words. It's good to be back. I look forward to all the time we're gonna get to spend together, hitting the golf range,
hitting the studio. Even talk about golf.
Golf is hard.
We're trying to figure out if we're ever gonna be good at golf, but
probably not. But we can smile while we swing. But I'm blessed to be around one of my favorite people. So I love you. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're in town, I'm sure you'll be a regular guest of the show. So
yes, sir.
To those of you listening, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with more episodes soon. Have a great day.